Greetings from sunny Southern California. I'm Murphy Daly at Written by Murphy at all the socials. I'm an AV veteran and a director of IT project management. You're joining us for the AV life.
James King here, my board member, writer for the Higher Ed Digital Magazine, IT and AV column. Google me, you'll find me, and you are watching and listening to the AV Life.
It was very somber, James. It was
Of
very
course,
somber.
I'm a somber person.
Well,
Hi.
my name is Joe Way, and I am not your host. Your host is going to say who he is next, but I am going to steal the show just to get even. But I am Joe Way at Josiah Way on all the socials, and I am currently unemployed.
And I'm your host, and technically Joe is right. And your host, Tim Van Wert from Rutgers University, from HETMA, from Higher Ed AV, which is also one and the same with HETMA now. And you are watching and listening to the AV Life. And yes, Joe Way is here as a crew member here. This is my apology to you, Joe. I stole your moderation at the AVIT summit, and I figured, and you've been doing such a good job as a crew member. So I wanted to extend that olive branch to you, as a
You were
offering.
so smooth and just like I asked this is how he did it. I asked a question to the group, and then you go down and go, and Tim, what are your thoughts on the topic? And then he would answer and then ask someone else a question. And I'm like, no, that's not how this works.
Well, it was almost like habit. Like, I ask the question sometimes here when you don't take over. So I took the opportunity to extend the conversation that we were having. So,
but it was a great panel. It was a good
oh, it
time.
absolutely was. And we're getting there's been lots of talk about it ever since then. It's made its appearances in the SCN magazine, which just came out, the physical copy, which I have to go find one of those. I have to actually like go out of my way to go find a physical copy of that. It's because I want it. I want to have that. So, and yeah, I mean, the conversation has been ongoing because of that event. So,
yes, absolutely. It was great. It was great.
Yes, it really was. Yes, so that was this is my peace offering to you, Joe. So we're glad you're here. We're not glad you're unemployed, but we know that there are good things.
I'm glad.
Coming,
I'm happy to be unemployed.
Oh well.
This is my tween time before I move over to UCLA. See how I've already changed out helmets in the background.
Oh,
too.
I see. I didn't
already
pick
have
up on
the
that
UCLA helmet
now.
in the background. So before I head over to be executive director of digital spaces, well, I mean, depending on if you release this on time, I'm not saying that you're lazy or anything, but let's say this releases on time. The next day I would be unemployed. I mean, I would be employed and no longer
employed. Yes.
The next
by the time this one comes around, maybe it could be Labor Day. It could be the week after Labor Day. So it's gonna be one of those two. So
I could be lying right now.
You could be lying.
Be the current executive director.
You could be the current executive. Yes.
Always risk.
So yes, or they could. Hey, if they're listening to it after Labor Day, you still would be. So
yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Now we're getting your
time.
Yeah, you're in your.
This is the content people come to the show to listen to.
Oh yeah,
have us argue about whether or not or when the exact dates are.
Exactly.
And you wonder why I'm somber.
Hey, we could talk about weather. Should we talk about weather?
It's hot here.
We had a hurricane.
Yeah,
you know
did.
What? Okay, you know what?
I felt
no
bad
one else on earth is allowed to complain about. California doesn't do things often, but when we do it, we one up everybody. So when else can you say you've had a hurricane and an earthquake, right?
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well, we were all amazed that you were getting a hurricane in the first place, and then it was a 5.5 magnitude earthquake, and I'm like, what? Like on top of everything else, it was like, yeah.
Okay, and so now Murphy's here, so fellow Californian. So here's the thing: even though scientists will tell you there's no such thing as earthquake weather, everyone from here knows it does exist, right? There is such thing as earthquake weather, right?
I am not as plugged into that because my earthquake history begins not in California, Alaska, right? So not
Oh.
exactly the same.
Okay, okay, that's fair.
Lots
That's
of
fair.
earthquakes.
But there's just something, and you can't put it. There's no like.
But
There's-
now
I
that
mean,
you mention it, I'm kind of seeing it.
there is you there. You just know it. There's earthquake weather. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Again, more of the content that people come to
Yeah,
listen to
look.
the show for. There you go. But see, oh my God, next thing I know, I'm going to have to move to New Jersey. I just talked about weather, and I did it so fluidly too.
I know. Geez, we've kind of worn. Are we wearing you down? Like,
Oh my
are you
gosh.
transitioning?
Are you
No,
gonna
we
start
just
talking
need
about
to
small
Coast?
towns?
Now we just need a small
Yeah.
town.
Town-
What small,
yeah.
small
town, are we
town.
gonna talk about?
Oh well, I'm gonna be going on a party boat at Lake Hopatcong. So that's a smaller town here in New Jersey.
Did
So
you-
it's a
what,
big lake,
Compacon-
but small town.
Compacon what?
Lake Hopatcong. It's an Indian name. Hopatcong.
Yep.
Sorry, it's a Jersey thing to just say it that fast.
Yeah, I did not get that off what you said.
Hopakan?
Hopat Lake Hopatcong. See, now I'm saying it so much.
Hopatcong.
I'm saying it. I'm like
Hopatcong.
changing it up as I'm saying it.
Wow.
Google it, you'll
It's-
find it.
You'll find it. Yes.
Well, I would have no idea how to spell it because there's a lot of other letters that aren't spoken.
There's a lot. Yeah, it's an Indian. It's a Native American name.
Okay.
There's a
Right.
lot of those on the East Coast, at least in New Jersey, as far as I know.
Well, we know where
That's right.
our Native American lands are here. There's always a casino on it.
Yeah.
Easy to find.
hmm Full of entertainment.
True.
Mhm.
It is also a it's a New Jersey state park as well. So, but anyway, so, yeah. So as I was kind of bringing it up, where it's Labor Day, maybe Labor Day weekend or Labor Day as you're listening to this, it could be the following week. But no matter what it is, the time you're hearing this, it's back to school season. And here comes Nancy into the
Woo,
broadcast.
Got a Nancy in.
We have a Nancy.
I raced to get here.
Well, glad you made it safe
you're
and
here.
sound as we are. Yes, we are recording now. And so welcome, Nancy.
Hey, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Yes.
Tuesday,
And that's
good to
actually
see you.
that's actually the day. So it is actually Tuesday as we're recording this.
The
So
last Tuesday of August.
yes.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Last Tuesday of
Nancy,
August.
you missed the riveting conversation where we were discussing dates.
Oh,
Because again, that's the content people come to listen for.
yep. Good to hear. So congratulations, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Wow.
you. Oh, yes. You missed that conversation, whether or not
That's
I'm
what spurred
employed
that's
or
what spurred
unemployed.
on the dates. Yeah.
Depends on whether or not when people are listening to it, whether I'm employed or unemployed. That's what we don't know. But
Well,
thank
yeah,
No, you're in
join
twi-
me. I just
you're in
had
your
to pay
tween
for-
stage.
I had to pay for Cobra today, and
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
you know what? California covered
That'll bite
isn't
you.
any cheaper for me,
mm,
one person.
boy,
So I was
baby.
like, oh, ouch.
So yeah, so so we're gonna discuss a little bit about back to school. Since we're no matter what day you're listening to this, and hopefully it will be sometime in September, and that usually means back to school for a lot of us.
Oh no.
Exactly. And there it is.
hmm
You're gonna have a lot of fun with that pad, Joe, aren't you?
Oh, I am. Oh, I am.
He's got a toy.
He's got his toys.
See what
Oh,
happens when I
okay.
have 3 weeks to do nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
So
You
that-
and I should live closer, because I actually yesterday when I was going for a walk behind my house, I was like, is this what it's like to be retired? You don't know what to do with your time yourself. I've
Yeah,
got a
you-
month. I've got another month before I officially start at my new role.
Oh,
Oh wow.
Oh.
That's a
Oh, wow.
gift, Nancy. A whole month to roll around in.
Well, I accepted in August a couple weeks ago.
Okay, so even
Um,
more, so you.
But I have my Disney cruise, which is in the middle of September. So we decided it'd be the beginning of October. So
Okay.
in the meantime, I don't know what to to do with myself.
Okay.
Pickleball.
Okay. Since I've been working from home because my immune system is compromised, I am doing my best to like stay active and walk around the block as necessary, right? Try to get up, walk around the block, start my day. This is a good habit, right? I'm a very civilized town, right? My sidewalks are wonderful. I, love all the plants that people have planted, but oh my gosh, so many trees are just like leaning over the sidewalk. And some places I have to double over in order to walk under the trees. So like 2 mornings ago, wait, what day is today? Tuesday, yesterday, I was walking around the block going, this is my day, I'm staying active. And somebody actually, I came to that spot. I'm like, oh, well, no problem. I could walk in the street, but there were 2 cars parked in front, so I couldn't get around them. So I had to like totally double over to walk under these trees. How I suffer. And the lady who lived at that house had just come out of her car. And I said, hey, I'm like, this is my moment. I said, your tree really kind of low. She goes, I should probably cut it. I said, that'd be great.
So you're the neighborhood watch person.
I make sure my tree.
You have like a board. You write down from the
I
neighbors.
was thinking, I have been considering this of getting chalk and writing it on their sidewalk, like trim your tree. People live here.
Good.
But this
We're
time
gonna
I
get you a
got
pad.
in person.
We're gonna get you a pad with like the check marks on it, like a ticket. Like it's like we're gonna fill out a ticket. It's like, here, fix these things.
Right. I wonder if I could call the police and say, I believe they're violating my ability to walk on the sidewalk. I disagree with this.
Welcome to the world of tall people of AV when you can't walk appropriately in some
No.
spots.
No, I don't think even a short person could walk under that. I'm like, really, people? But speaking
So,
of down, whether it be on a sidewalk or to a ticket, I have a little PM minute. So when a person is trying to manage a project, writing things down is incredibly valuable. And I think it's important to talk about this as we are having a back to school AV life. When you're going to school, well, that's one of the first things you learn, right, is to write.
Mhm.
And writing things down, taking notes, communicating back and forth. If you don't write it down, it will disappear. So when it comes to projects, writing it down and making sure to communicate it across to all the other people, all the stakeholders, the customer, the team, whoever is on this, you got to have it written down. So going back to school, very basic, reading, writing, arithmetic, or whatever social media is your preference. Making sure you write it down, track it, and communicate it to the rest of the people is really critical for having a successful, organized project.
Well, I will say that is great. That is perfect, Murphy. And I live by my notebook because if I don't write it down, it's gone. And that's purely the neurodivergent part of me. Like if I don't write it down, or like if I don't text myself or something, it's gone. It's in and out, and then I move on with my day unknowingly.
I was
So
gonna
yes.
say, Tim, that's age.
Well, it's a little bit of A, a little bit of B. So it's gotten worse with the age. I used to be able to kind of manage, but now it has to be written down. Like that's
Shopping
just,
lists, everything. It all has
Yep.
to be written now. There's no more of keeping it up here.
Nope. That is it. So
That actually might have nothing to do with your age, but actually your attention span. Because just like our bodies, we have to work out to keep in shape and stuff. We have to work our attention and train it. So you just might have too much on your whiteboard.
that might also be a very accurate statement.
We moms are very good at multitasking. So when a baby is rolling off of the changing table out of the corner of your eye, you see that and you get quickly there, and then you're doing other things and this and that, and that's what I find
Mhm.
anyways.
Is that I think James is onto something, because that's why I never forget anything, because I don't pay attention in the first place to even know what to forget.
Yep.
That's an interesting way of looking
Fun
at it. Yeah.
philosophy.
Just
Well,
ask
and I
Amy.
will say-
She'll tell you.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I love the saying is the husband and wife are talking, and the wife goes, "You never listen to anything I say," and the husband goes, "Man, that's a weird way to start a conversation."
There you go.
Well, I will say it's also I've heard the analogy that and I think I find this to be kind of true in most cases, that women's brains are like spaghetti and men's brains are more like waffles, because we all have our segments of things that are going on. Because there have been times like where I'll make a comment about something and my wife has no idea what I'm talking about because I'm still in like my waffle square, and vice versa. She's moved on to something else that was related, but I didn't make the connection because it moved out of my waffle square. So yeah.
To
But
be
yes,
fair,
the multitasking, Nancy, that is 100% accurate.
my husband we will have, of course, we talk all the time and we'll have conversations. We'll be talking about something and then he will skip to another waffle square and not leave me a thread going, oh, now I'm talking about this. It'll be like, wait, what are you talking about? And then I will have to say, wait a minute, the last thing we talked about was another thing altogether. Oh, well, I'm talking about this now, which we were talking about 2 minutes ago. I'm like,
Yeah.
All this
you didn't
talk
see
about
the-
waffle
but I
makes me
deserve an
hungry.
apology for you trying to skip
Mm.
topics like that. You can't just bounce around without.
Yeah.
leaving
Well, no,
me.
there was usually like a little,
Especially when
there
I'm
was like a
already trying to listen to something else on my headphones while you're talking to me anyway.
Yeah.
I have some Waffle House waffle batter in my pantry.
Speaking of that, Joe, I should have taken a picture. I was in a rush, but I was at the store the other day and I saw Waffle House slides. I was going to send a picture because it made me think of you.
Mhm.
You and your Waffle House
What?
slides. So like slippers, flip flops.
Yes, flip flops. Slide. I've
Yeah.
never heard the word
I'm-
slides in my life.
That's a
Neither have
it's
I.
a
What
it's
the
an East
hell
it
Coast
is
must be
a
thing.
East Coast. It's an East
I-
Coast thing.
I'm thinking Waffle House slides. I'm like, I didn't think that Waffle House had play areas like
So-
McDonald's.
So
These-
I'm like, that's right where I went. That is a flip flop.
This is a flip
that's a
flop.
flip flop.
Yeah.
That's a flip flop.
Slide is the
Yes.
one that doesn't it just has
Has
the,
no
the
toe.
one strap. It has no
Yeah.
center toe. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
those are called tourist shoes.
Those are called the
Socks.
men who wear them with socks.
Yes.
No, you don't wear them with socks.
Well,
That is unless you're
it-
an athlete after a
Right.
soccer game.
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
but
oh,
yes, they're called
Flip.
slides because you
just
slide
call
your
them,
feet
just,
into.
just call them flip flops. Okay, they're
But
all
they're not
all the same
flip-flop.
category.
Yeah.
They're all the same category. Oh, Nancy has a pretty drink.
Aperol.
ooh.
Oh,
So wait a minute. I have to ask. I'm like so late to the game on this alcohol, but what does it taste like? What is that? What is
Aperol?
yeah.
it tastes like liquid death.
So I had my first one in Venice, and the Venice Film Festival is coming up and going on right now. So I thought I would they're really good on a hot day. It's refreshing.
Like
So-
in Venice.
It has a weird
Venice,
bitter
Italy.
taste, though. It has a weird, like that was where we
Yeah.
found it when we were in Italy as well. And
But-
Aperol spritz was a thing, but they're bitter. Like it's
It
weird.
has to be made. It has to be made properly, and from traveling throughout Italy and then here, and then you learn to make your own. It has to do with how much Aperol you put in it. But put sparkling wine. Don't use Prosecco. Prosecco's.
We do
Don't
Prosecco.
use tonic water.
Oh my
With-
God,
No.
the tone just went so much higher in here. I was
No.
complaining
Now we're
about-
talking about now this is the content, people. So we had
Yeah.
before recording tonight, Amy and I went out for Italian because we have an official little Italian restaurant. We had our limoncello spritzes, Prosecco and
Ooh.
limoncello. And so
Yeah.
we had that for dinner. So that was good. And then I went and switched to the 0 sugar pre-made margarita. Not quite as good, but
Yeah.
it does.
Well, if we're gonna talk about alcohol, I have ginger cello here from Marble Distillery, based out of Colorado, family owned. My family, my bio family. So it's a little plug for them.
Look at that.
And yes, it falls right in the middle of like that lemon. It's the limoncello kind of flavor, but that's got that little bit of ginger to the taste, and it's actually delicious. I like to mix it with lemonade. and that's that. So I get like the
Wait
extra
a minute.
sweetness.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
But
Is gin and ginger? Is that how you get it?
Wait a
No.
minute. No, I think it's more
I-
like the cotton gin.
No, because he said there's ginger in it. And I'm like, wait a minute, but it was called gincello or something. Gingerello. Whatever you call it.
ginger cello,
Gingercello.
ginger cello.
Okay.
It
okay.
doesn't work right there. You go.
But this is perfect for back to school because you have to talk about your alcohol when you're going back to school in college. And
Right.
there is a thing from the first football game this last week. It was great. It came across Barstool Sports. I don't know if you saw it. You probably didn't unless you follow Barstool Sports. But it was great. This kid at the USC football game dropped his fake ID. And so they were holding him down by his feet and he was sliding down the thing to grab his fake ID that he had dropped.
Wow.
That's pot committed into this thing rather than just walking down the street and turning 3 blocks left off of Figueroa and just getting a new fake ID. But, you know,
Mm.
it was great. It was
Right.
caught by Barstool Sports. And it was perfect.
Priorities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's true.
And I will say, so Notre Dame was playing over in Ireland.
Ireland?
Yeah, and their cup stacking game was on the point. That was also a Barstool video. They had a giant stack of cups that was going through. It
Upsetting.
was
Yeah, I would tell you, Notre Dame looked good. You know, I'm not going to lie. They look good. I'm not supposed to say that, but they did, you know, I'm just saying they did.
yeah. I'm not. I will be honest. I am not. I mean, I'm always optimistic for Rutgers, but you know, I am real to the fact that we're still building our program. So, you know, but you know what? We
How
still
many
have
years
what?
in a row have you been saying that?
Well, since we've been in the Big Ten, so before so 5 years. Well, we're also on our second coach in that time, so
And we
We're
get
only
to
a
play
couple-
you next year.
next year.
Next year.
No, wait, we weren't on your schedule for next year.
UCLA's though.
Oh, UCLA. All right. Yes.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I see what you did there.
Huh?
I see what you did there. Yes, you're on our schedule. I didn't. I don't remember though. Were you coming out to us, or were we going out to
I-
you?
I haven't paid that much attention. I looked at it. very
Okay.
good.
Okay, I'll have to go figure that one out. Oh, and then yeah, I'm also tonight. I am drinking Alexander Keith's India Pale Ale from Nova Scotia.
I was
So-
gonna say Keith's, yep.
Yep. My boss traveled up there and brought me back a few. So it was this is my my podcasting beer now. So yes.
I, as a Canadian, have never been to Newfoundland.
Hmm.
I've been out to Halifax, like Nova Scotia, because my cousins live out there. I've been to PEI, but I've never been to Newfoundland.
Hmm.
Because that's far, far.
That's far. Yeah. I was say I've the furthest into Canada I've gone on the East Coast is Niagara Falls. West Coast I did what was it? Shoot, what was the name of that?
So you did
Oh, is it Banff? Is it Banff?
Banff? Yeah,
the-
Banff in
the-
Alberta. Yeah,
Yeah, up there.
in
Yeah.
Calgary. Yeah.
Is Canada letting people in and out again?
Yep. They let me back in, so thank goodness.
Mhm.
Or maybe it was just showing the Canadian passport.
They change a lot of things. So again,
No, they've been good. Interestingly enough, because we're talking about COVID coming back and things like that, and how is that going to change? Australia with the Disney cruise, they are requiring for you to have a negative COVID test. I just read that.
Hmm.
So I don't know if that marks for other countries that are going to follow suit. I'm not sure. I mean, I read about colleges and universities now where they're mandating masks and things. What about you with all your institutions? Has anything changed?
And nothing's changed. I heard a rumor that we were going to go back to masks, but I don't. If it hasn't come out at this point, it's not coming out. So, although I will say apparently we're in the middle of a summer surge of COVID cases. But I know my cousin, she actually was down in Aruba vacationing, and on her way back, tested positive. So she's recovering from that as we speak. So.
Hmm.
But yeah, I haven't heard, there's been nothing yet about changing policies or anything like that.
Well, we've
Yeah.
learned a lot about COVID and fortunately have learned that it is far less fatal than we first feared it to be. So hopefully there will be a plan for quick recovery and business can continue as usual, especially education, since we're HETMA here.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Ditto.
So, yeah.
Oh,
So
wait a minute.
I-
Wait a minute. We have a sound drop for her
Wait,
comment.
okay.
Hold on.
I am going to come here on the show and say your views are correct.
thank you, Mr.
There you go.
Cristiano.
Yeah.
It's like he's here.
What's his little guy? Doesn't he has that little guy? That
Not
Neto.
Neto.
Not Neto. Yeah, this is the voice of Not Neto.
There you go.
There you go.
So yeah, I will say though, speaking of school and getting back to it, we're really excited to be getting back to the fall semester. And, I will say, so for the most part, like summer projects went pretty smoothly for me. We have a couple things I'm wrapping up here at the very end, of course, because it wouldn't be higher ed without last minute things coming through. And I'm really, really looking forward to this fall. I'm excited for it's weird. I'm excited to plan for next summer because I know the rooms that we're going to be refreshing next year and the plans that we were going to do is start now. So, and those are kind of the rooms I'm really excited to flip this year. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's, just basic things like that. I'm really looking forward to this fall. What about the rest of the crew here? What all are you excited for this fall?
It was a great start to the school year. It was fantastic. You
Mhm.
know, it was wonderful.
Says the tweener.
I know my boat was great. Watching all the posts especially on the HETMA channel of everybody and James's Slack channel, and watching everyone freak out. And by the way, James, that rants channel, I've never seen it more active than I have the last 2 weeks. And,
Yeah.
I'll say, and while I was sitting there on my boat, cruising around, going to concerts, enjoying, I felt for you all. That's all I'll say.
He's
So-
all heart.
I actually kind of like Nancy was saying when she came in talking about, is this retirement? I kind of felt like that this year. This summer has been very odd, and the start of the semester has been new for me. Is I have a brand new building, brand new equipment. I probably most likely will not be upgrading anything for at least 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
So,
that's
really,
4 or 5 years. That's the time that your integrator will finally finish.
oh yeah, let's
Oh.
not even go there. But I mean, it's been kind of laid back. It's been weird for me.
Mm.
Yeah. No, I was saying it's not the way it's for me.
Mm. Well,
But it's
my
great.
kid is starting high school tomorrow, so that's a big deal, big step. And I'm continuing to train her to be an independent, free-thinking person. Oh, and actually, we were having a discussion about like, okay, how much allowance do you need now to properly set this up to how much she's going to need? And I said, let's talk about what it really means. She goes, I'm going to need to keep, we have a little bucket of money that we put her, all of her presents over the years, grandparents or whatever gave her money. And so she's like, I'm going to need that money so that I can pay rent when I get older. I'm like, I love your thoughts, but you're going to have income to pay that. You're not going to want to live off of your savings. The savings is for savings. And I went over like, what are some college degrees you would want to get that would lead to the life you want to have? Even before she enters high school, going, okay, think about what you want to be. And she thought about this. She goes, well, management of information security sounds pretty good. I'm like, all right, well, that's just her not even knowing what that is. That's kind of what you do, right, mommy? I'm like, yeah, you're a math person. You're very much a history, social studies kind of person too. So let's figure this out. We were kind of towards the end leaning towards an MBA, but you got to think these things through. She's like, okay. I said, and also you'll want to practice your skills of getting people together. She has some skills of that, getting people together, organizing them. And I said, that will help you, because what you're going to want to do when you first move out into your own living space, not with your parents, is probably have 2 roommates, because that's what people do. That's how it works. And you're going to need, I said, this is how much it costs to get a house. This is how much it costs to get a 1-bedroom, like a 3-bedroom house and a 1-bedroom apartment. A 3-bedroom house in the neighborhood we live in is $3,300. And a 1-bedroom apartment is $2,200. I said, you know, you're going to want to have a group of people, and you're going to want to work towards helping them continue to actually pay rent rather than running off to go to Mexico for a summer or whatever. So work on that. This will help you. She's like, okay. Like, this is reality.
Well, yeah, I was to say I did something similar when I first left the house. Although I my first step after I left the house was I moved into my fraternity house, which that was probably not the
Yeah.
best, not the best option. But hey, when you're paying like $250 a month for rent, like yeah, you're sharing a house with like 10 other guys, but you know, it's $250 a month.
Right. That's valid. Yeah.
Yeah. But then I had a roommate in my next apartment, and then I got my own place after that. So it was, yeah, it's baby
It's
steps.
correct. Yeah. You start with
Yeah.
one thing. And I said, oftentimes, Veronica, after somebody has been living with roommates for a while, they get sick of it. They have had their starter job, and then they get a slightly better job. And then they're like, I'm sick of living with roommates, and I'm willing to pay, even though it's extra, for that 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment all by myself. It's worth it to me, because you get sick of all the people. She's like, okay. I said, but you generally don't start with that. You start with, everybody sleeping on top of each other on the floor to make rent.
Mhm.
That's how life works.
Yep. Oh man. Oh, those good old days of starting out.
But is it just me though that this, even if I just look at like random conversations across the Twitters and higher ed channels and stuff as we talk back to school, or even the K through 12 channels, this has been a very low key year. Like, I don't know if it's still, we're coming out of, COVID and installs aren't fully back, or maybe we just all already upgraded 2 years ago. And now we have this random year or two where we're on pause until we have to refresh. But it seemed very low key. Yeah, there's a little bit of, oh my God, I'm stressed. It's the beginning of the year. But that's just because you're taking customer tickets and support, and you got to be hands on and all that stuff. There's natural stress that comes with getting 50 emails a day from everybody. But it seems like we haven't heard a lot with project stuff that's going south or can't get. I haven't heard even a lot about I can't get equipment. Like those conversations.
That I was
are
gonna
now
say,
done.
I don't remember. We haven't really talked about that except for the usual suspects. But but for the most part, I got everything I needed this year.
I did too.
Yeah. Well,
What? No, we still did projects before. No, but like so. For example, we upgraded all of our amps. We did put some UPSs in. We did some. What else did we do? Yeah, Dante amps, UPSs, something else. I forget what else we did. We finished. We finished 300 spaces in 4 weeks. Like, we were done by July. And now maybe that means because I got an awesome project manager in Hunter who managed that whole thing and got through. So probably a lot of that with it. But the fact, I remember being at InfoCon with Hunter, and I'm like, so how's it going? And he's like, yeah, we'll finish next week. I'm like, wait, what? School just ended like 3 weeks ago. Like, yeah, we're almost done. I'm like, that means it means you're hitting 10 to 12 rooms a day. You're like, yep. Oh, we changed out all of our projectors. So we did projectors, projector mounts, UPS and Dante amps, and they had to go and reprogram all this. And they were doing 10 or 12 a day. I'm like, he's a flipping rock star.
That's
So,
really, yeah.
I'm wondering for you folks, if maybe the projects have changed or the activity because of coming out of COVID. So now the priorities are different in how you're using the technology. Who's using the technology?
I'm gonna take this a
How did
different angle. I don't think that's the case. I really what I think is, and this is chopping up to like Hetman and stuff, is I think people are realizing the tech managers are actually very skilled in what they're doing, and they're becoming more partners with us instead of fighting us and saying, "Oh no, you know you're back in the line." Like Hetma has really, I think, done a good job at putting higher ed and tech managers to the forefront. And like you saw in Infocom, we got everyone wanted to be with us. So I
Right.
think that's really was one of the big reason why, like, usually the Fortune 500 companies, you know, got the gear, higher ed, you got what was left over. Now I feel that higher ed's getting gear, and corporations, you're getting what's left over.
what if I challenge you that everyone's just getting gear and they're telling us and making us feel like we're important, but everyone's actually getting it?
Don't
Just
open
saying
the curtains,
that I
Joe.
went there.
Oh
I
no,
went
don't
there.
Don't
don't
open
let
the
the wizard
curtains.
don't let the wizard out. No.
Because we're the type of people that need our like backs pat because we're, you know, let's be honest. Like,
We're trying to pat your back there, Joe.
no, I'm just saying that maybe we're not as special as we think. Hate to say it, but
Oh,
you
I
know,
agree.
I think that if you're a Fortune 500, especially a Fortune 50, I guarantee you, you're also in the front of the line.
Oh,
All right.
God, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I just think we're all to the point where everybody's getting what they need, right? And that's just the reality, which is a good sign, right? That
Right.
means going back to what Tim was saying, being excited about next year. Well, I'd be excited about next year too, because as long as you're doing the right things, like you said, you're already going to start your conversations now for what you're doing next summer, which means you're going to do the right thing and you're going to let your, you know, manufacturers have, you know, 4 to 6 months lead time so that you can get the gear when you need it, which by the way is how we should have always done it. We should have never had last minute being okay. So now you start doing things right. Maybe that's what, you know, maybe that's the good that came out of the supply chain issue, is that we're actually all doing the things now that we should have done before, and doing proper planning and letting us, our manufacturers, work with us, letting our integrators work with us in order to have our projects be successful, because we spent the time to pre-plan. And we didn't always do that. And we had to now train, like saying, our institutions and our bosses, or if you come from corporate, you know, the money pushers, right? You have to now push them to come up with budget decisions well ahead of time, where we were okay letting them make a budget decision in April and then hope we could get something in June. Well, those days are gone. And
How
now
do you spend a little more time being a suit? I want to have you say that again.
I'm going to make a good suit. I'm going to be a good suit.
With
I'm
a
gonna
polo
I'm-
underneath.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he'll be
The
he'll be
typical
sports
Joe
jacket
Way
suit.
suit jacket, sport jacket with the
See?
polo underneath.
You
So
know how I
I-
do it. It's still,
I know how
I
you
want to
do it.
know what is considered a suit person in California, because we all know they wear flip flops anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's it's just a jacket. It's the
Okay.
blazer over everything else. You just keep a blue blazer hanging to the back of the
Kind of
the door. That's all you need to do. You can throw it over anything. And the big thing, California suit, you can wear a graphic tee and throw a blazer over, and you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, being a suit's not hard. You just have to have the jacket.
So
Yeah.
the biggest thing I'm taking away for education is how much of it is actually done at home as well. Because I mean, I'll admit, we all know Nevada out here, it does not have good education for K through 12. But my daughters both got their self assessment from last year. They got the scores. They ranked in the top of all their scores when their school were like in like level 1. Like,
Mm.
yeah, like there's things where I looked at that, I'm like, holy darn, like this is like bad. Some like there's 4 levels in English, science, math, and they're like the schools were like a level 1, level 2. That's like barely making it by. And both my daughters on their English ones, which must get from their wife, from my mom, my wife, because not from me, but both of them
Mhm.
scored the top score you could on English and language.
That's awesome.
So and then my daughter sit there and go, "Why am I in double accelerated math?" I'm like, "Because you're already too far ahead of everyone else."
So does that also speak volumes for the Jersey school system as well?
No, it just says about
No.
his wife and his kids.
My wife, 100% my wife. See,
Well,
see,
yeah, no, I'm sure about
like-
that. I'm not discrediting that at all because I see the same thing about my son. He gets everything from his mom, from my wife. It's
I,
just,
I
My
also
kids are
have
genius
to-
because of me. I'm just kidding.
I also have to give my mom credit there because my mom is a retired 2nd grade teacher, and when we were East Coast, he did babysit and helped out the kids once in a while. So I'll give my mom
Mhm.
credit there too. Definitely not from me though. If anyone saw why my son asked how I get the job at UNLV.
I saw that tweet.
My friends, I must drop off. It's been great.
Oh,
See you,
bye,
Murph.
Murphy.
Time.
Take care.
So, oh man. So yeah, it's gonna be. I will say though. Oh shoot, I had a thought. See, this is where like at this point in the night, like lately, I've just been like, I am toasted at this
It's
point.
only
Like my brain is.
6:24.
Yeah, it's 9:24 here on the East Coast. Those
Think
3
of-
hours, man. Hey, if we were recording this at 6:24 Eastern time, I'd be in a whole different like mindset. Those 3 hours, that's a big difference. Like this is bedtime and shut her down.
I was just going to say, Joe and I are just getting started.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, and all the rest of you are on that time clock. I'm the only one that's now.
Look how this has changed. Think back to when Corey was running the show. I
Yeah.
was always the lone West Coaster.
Mhm.
And then he would run for 2.5 hours. I'm going, y'all, the sun's gonna come up soon for you. And he started later. I'm like, how in the
Yeah.
no, he started at like 4:30, didn't he? He actually started a little earlier.
A little
'Cause I
earlier,
remember
yeah.
starting him while I was at Cal Baptist. Like I was still on the clock.
Yes,
Maybe
there were
that's why.
times, yeah. I remember that. Yeah, he would start a little early. He would start earlier. It worked, yeah, which it worked for him, excuse me. But yeah, that time slot didn't work for me. So
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then I just remembered, yeah, James is in Vegas. So,
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
he's on the same. So you're outruled there, Tim.
And then you
yeah.
had Murphy who's also in LA. So you had all
Yep.
these,
It was
West Coast show now.
yeah, that's geez, it was a West Coast takeover this week. We didn't have Renee to kind of start to
Balance the
balance
middle.
things out. Yeah. So I gotta invite a bunch of East Coast people onto the show. I gotta bring like Gina in and really like bring down the East Coast.
I mean,
It was
I'm
great seeing you
physically in
and
the
Gina
West
the
Coast.
other week. That was great.
Oh yes, that was at the AVIT summit or right afterwards. Yeah. Sorry, James, you were saying?
I was going to say I'm maybe physically on the West Coast, but I will always be an East Coast person.
Oh yeah, we're not letting go of you that
Hold
easily.
on. Soundbite that. Soundbite that right there.
Oh,
Because
sound-
we'll see in 20 years when he
It's
Did you get it?
well, you just have to go back and
Oh,
yeah,
there you
clip
go.
it.
Yeah,
Clip it.
soundbite.
all right. Well, I know we have some other. I know James, you got to kind of drop off soon too. So we'll start wrapping things up here. Yeah, so yes. Speaking of bringing people into the classrooms and getting things, doing in classroom type things. I will be doing a presentation with the infamous Jimmy Singleton over here at the Teaneck Marriott for the E4 experience. hosted by Almo. And
Dead to me.
I figured he was.
Dead to me.
At September 20th, we'll be talking about the in-person class experience and how we are engaging and bringing those students back into the classroom. And also my quotable moment from the AVIT summit about putting butts in the seats, which is what Cindy took out of what I said during that whole thing. So but yes, we're going to continue that conversation about butts in the seats, and it's gonna be a fun day. It's a free event. Yeah, I think it's e4experience.com, I believe is the website, or if you just
Yes,
search
it
for
is.
E4. Yeah, if you do a search for E4 experience, it's the first thing that pops up. And I'll be at the New York Metro one at the Teaneck Marriott. So
You don't have to try to pick someone up from Penn Station first, though, do you?
No, we don't need to go through that again.
Penn Avenue and Penn Station or Penn Street and Penn
Or whatever that other
Boulevard
weird
and
side
Penn
street,
whatever.
yeah, that I didn't know about at all, and yeah. But I found you, so that
You
was the
did.
important
You
thing.
did. You did.
It's
Well,
not
we're
like I
keep-
left you. I didn't leave you to the throes of Newark. So
But if we are pushing things and we're doing promos,
Mhm.
ETC is coming up in a couple of weeks, and HETMA has a booth at ETC. We're going to be there, and we are going to do some live podcasting from ETC on the campus of the University of Southern California, September 20 to 23rd, and then November 7th, HETMA Roadshow on the beautiful campus of the University of California at Los Angeles. Actually, I think it's not at Los Angeles. I think it's just Los Angeles. And the beautiful Luskin Center. We're going to do a HETMA Road show there that's partnering with Times Higher Education inside Times Higher Ed. And you can come back to the UCLA campus in March for the SAVE Sustainability and AV inaugural conference.
I
Very
will
cool.
be at ETC this year. Be my first one.
Yes. It's a
Awesome.
great show. So there we go. There's some plugs.
all right. Well, there you go. So you have your East Coast option, you have your West Coast option, and yeah. So there you go. So for all you folks out there, hope you had a great weekend. Have a great start to the school year. If whether you have kids that are going, whether you yourself are going for an upper level degree or going for work or whatever it might be, stay safe, enjoy. And to the crew, thank you as always. And to all of our listeners, thank you as well. And until our next adventure.